Thanks, Jeremy. And a big story is that tiff between Old Mutual and CEO Peter Moyo. So Moyo showed up for work at the company's head office in Sandton this morning, but just like the last time when he returned to the office, he was barred from entering his office. Heidi Jacques has been following the story and joins me now for the latest. Very complicated situation between the two here, but very briefly, a little bit of context as to what's happening here.
Exactly, so it is really complicated because this has been an ongoing battle between Old Mutual and Peter Moyo when he was suspended and then abruptly fired earlier this year. He obviously took that to court to challenge it, and there's a strict court ruling in place, a high court judgment where it says that Peter Moyo should be reinstated temporarily pending Part B of his application to the High Court. Peter Moyo went back to work earlier this year, and again he was barred because Old Mutual felt as though because they've put in a leave to appeal application, it automatically suspends the High Court judgment, allowing Peter Moyo back in the building. He left that same day, he left the office, and they went back to court to get a declaratory order. Old Mutual wants a declaratory order to clarify whether or not they should be allowing Peter Moyo back in work, given the fact that they've put in a leave to appeal. Last week, Friday, we saw the same judge dismissing the declaratory order and granting Old Mutual a leave to appeal, but still, Peter Moyo and his legal team are adamant that Old Mutual is in contempt of court because there is a clear High Court judgment that allows and permits Peter Moyo to go back. So that's the gist of it, and this is why Peter Moyo is insisting that he's allowed to be back in his CEO chair.
That's very interesting because he went back today, and same as the last time, as I've just mentioned in that intro, he wasn't allowed back in the office. I mean, is there a way forward between these two parties?
Exactly. So we understand that Peter Moyo did go back to the office today. We saw him. He got a cup of coffee. But he was put into a separate room. He wasn't allowed in his office. And this was because Old Mutual says that they're going to put in another court application, an urgent court application, to get another declaratory order, because one must remember that on the 21st of August, Old Mutual sent another letter to shareholders saying that they are firing Peter Moyo again. So again today he was barred. But let's listen to what Old Mutual had to say, as well as Peter Moyo ahead of his return at his offices in Sandton.
Around the clarity of the understanding of what we are saying. They have a different view to us, and we have a different view to them. So we have decided that once again we will go to the courts to seek clarity on the implementation of that, and to make sure that we just bring stability to the organization.
Was the declaratory order not dismissed on Friday?
So it's so technical, Heidi. The declaratory order that was dismissed on Friday is in relation to the first letter of termination, which is why we are making reference to the second letter of termination that was served on Mr. Moyo on the 21st of August. What the board would like to do is continue to make sure that there's certainty that is provided for the shareholders, the stakeholders across the board, and ensure that we can continue with business as usual. As far as the board is concerned, Mr. Moyo is not permitted nor required to come to work.
Old Mutual, as you know, got their leave to appeal on Friday. There's a judgment in their favor on the leave to appeal. It's not that they've won any appeal. They're allowed to go and appeal, and that appeal has to do with me being in the office. So we don't even know what other thing they could actually be going on an urgent basis for. So
there comes a time when the maneuvering must stop and you implement a court order. Like, all of us are bound by the rule of law to respect the court decisions and move on.
Must mention